Hello everybody, welcome to Awesome Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. I am trying to hit 100k subscribers on this channel by the end of the year, so your subscription would be much appreciated. Hitting 100k on this channel by the end of the year is entirely a pipe dream. There's not a chance that's going to happen, but I don't know, that's the intro, so subscribe. I'm a little salty right now because Steph had another immaculate game. In his last 4 games, he has had 50 points, 40 points, 24 points, and 37 points. And coincidentally, the game that he has 24 points is the game that I went to. So I really appreciate that, Steph, for all the years of support and defending you, having your jersey on the wall. You decide that you're going to have your dud game of the 4 when I'm there. So thank you for that. But regardless, the Warriors did win this game versus the Brooklyn Nets, which was honestly a disappointing game because the Nets did not bring a whole lot to the table. A lot of the problems that exist with the Nets, especially that existed early on in the season, kind of dissipated and they started to figure things out again, especially as James Harden started to figure things out again. But then as the season progressed, like I said, as the season progressed, things got good, but a lot of the problems that existed early on in the season showcase themselves again in this game. Also, didn't help that Kevin Durant was just off. Like there was good defense played against him, but it wasn't like there was some lockdown, holy shit, they're really taking it to Kevin Durant. Just kind of missing shots that he often makes. He went 6 for 19 in this one. James Harden had himself a good game. What do you know? James Harden's still good at basketball. Who could have predicted that? But really, it was just the fact that Kevin Durant couldn't make a shot, but the offense wasn't really generating clean, easy looks for him. Now, he has been wildly efficient for this season. Like I think I don't know what it is after this game, but I believe he had a nearly 70% true shooting percentage up to this point. So I don't think, I'm not going to make the argument like, well, they need an offensive system that gives him cleaner looks, because it kind of doesn't matter with Kevin Durant whether he has clean looks or contested ones. He just kind of figures it out. But some of the stagnant offense and then over-reliance on difficult shot making. Kevin Durant is like the best at difficult shot making, but sometimes you'll have a game where he's just off and then there's no easy offense for him. And that's what this one was for them. And that's really all I have to say about the Brooklyn Nets, really. Again, James Harden had a good game. Bruce Brown had a very, very good game. A lot of right place at the right time moments, but that was about it. Another thing I wanted to focus on was a little bit of small ball stuff here, because the Warriors' primary lineup, or the one that was a majority of the minutes, was really Draymond Green at center and either Iggy or Kuminga or Porter or Bjelica at power forward. And that's kind of the system that they have been running this year, where Kevon Looney's the starting center, but like, is he really? It's kind of a weird thing with the center position now, and I don't want to talk about this too much because this is a video that I plan on making a deep dive at some point. But the center position feels in such a weird spot where, yes, it's very clear that there are aspects of that is just kind of dissipating, but also we have these incredibly talented centers, so we can't just eradicate it entirely. So there are teams like the Warriors are kind of a prime example. Well, they'll put out a big man like Kevon Looney out there. In the past, when bigs were a little bit more prevalent, they did it with Andrew Bogut, but really their best lineup is always with Draymond at center, but they don't want to just outright start him. They want to almost disguise it, not go into the game with that being the game plan, but then eventually switching to it, almost like they're trying to camouflage it or something, like we don't know what they're going to do. I'm not really sure. I don't know. It's like if you fully embrace it, then you get shit for it. But if you just be like, hey, we do have a center and he plays 10 minutes, it's fine. I don't know. It's almost like we're waiting for this bottle to be opened, but no one's opening it, even though it very clearly needs to. Like the Nets are starting Blake Griffin at center. Blake Griffin's not really a center, but he is kind of at the same time, because that's what a center is today. So I don't know. It's just interesting. Just two small ball teams here. And I really just feel like we're delaying the inevitable with the center position. And really, teams just need to have a center so that they can guard the likes of Jokic, AD and Anthony Davis. Jesus Christ. Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, etc. But really, for the most part, big men really kind of dissipating. But on the Warriors side of things, because as I mentioned earlier, that's all I really had to say about the Brooklyn Nets. First of all, I don't know why Steph played so many minutes. I heard a theory from someone I was on FaceTime with that they were trying to get Steph more three-pointers so that he could break the three-point record and move up the next spot on the Warriors' home floor. He did finish with 9 threes, so not a bad way of doing that. But it felt like he played a little bit longer than he needed to. Like the game was over by the fourth quarter, but he still played like half of the fourth quarter. Weird decision that was. Draymond Green, really good game from him, doing Draymond stuff, playmaking, defense, all of that. Jordan Poole, is it safe to say Jordan Poole's been a bit of a disappointment this year? He had an overall relatively efficient game, and he's averaging 17 points, but his three ball was 0 for 7 in this one. He's shooting 31% from three on 8 attempts right now. His percentages have not justified the volume, and his points per game have not taken the leap that you really want. His field goal percentage is good. He's really fitting in with their cutting offense. In fact, he's kind of on the receiving end of Draymond backdoor passes more than really anybody else, which is kind of weird because of how many athletic forwards that the Warriors have. You'd think they'd be getting that action more, but no, it's Jordan Poole. But and then also just good off of the dribble stuff, good in transition, but the jump shot hasn't really gone in. He has a good-looking jump shot, and it's gone. It went in last year, and it looked good in the preseason. So I have hope that his jump shot will be good, but I have a feeling he's going to be one of those guys who's like, I don't know if you should be taking threes quite like how you do. I don't know if you're quite good enough to justify it, but still like a good three-point shooter. Outside of that, though, he had a fine game, so I don't want to harp on it too much, but there was just a stretch of him missing multiple jump shots where I was like, good Lord, Jordan. Andrew Wiggins, another good game. And that's really, Jonathan Kuminga, I wanted to mention him. He has looked good. He looked good in the Hornets game. He looked really good in this game. A couple of key, was it 2 offensive rebounds he got? Yes, he got 2 offensive rebounds, one of which was to close a quarter, and then he got it off of a missed free throw and got a really difficult finish. So I've liked what I've seen from Jonathan Kuminga thus far. Good rebounding, good finishing at the rim. Not doing a whole lot more outside of that, but nice to see. I feel like Otto Porter Jr. should be getting more minutes. I don't know if I'm crazy for thinking that, but like he's a big forward who shoots the three ball really well. And like I understand that Iggy fits the system better, but I honestly think Otto Porter Jr. is better than him. And the fact that Iggy, I believe, is getting more minutes per game. Yeah, he's getting 21 minutes per game to Otto 16. I don't know about that. Maybe it's just the fact that Iggy is more familiar with the system. I'd say it's pretty much even when I watch them play in terms of their impact, but I'd rather have Otto's three ball. But I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into that too much. Also, another good game from Gary Payton. Gary Payton Jr., I should clarify in case you didn't know that Gary Payton retired a while ago. Just such a good defensive player and a very nice Cinderella story. It's nice to see him out there being, a valuable NBA player and someone who's going to get a contract now. So that's really cool. Moses Moody played. He didn't do anything, but he played. Juan Toscano-Anderson. I don't know why I'm going over the Warriors' entire lineup. But Juan Toscano-Anderson, I feel kind of bad for the guy because he really kind of broke out as like a really high-value role player for the Warriors last year. And now because they signed so many wings, he's been shafted into the like third-string small forward, power forward spot and not getting a whole lot of minutes as a result. And I kind of hope that he gets moved somewhere else because he's like a good value role player. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the rotation, I guess. But I want to talk about this game because a lot of people were saying that this was a statement game from the Warriors. Now, I will say this game felt more like the Nets losing than the Warriors winning. What I mean by that is the Nets just kind of played like shit, and the Warriors played good, but they didn't, nothing particularly outstanding, especially by comparison to the fact that they're now 12-2. So, like, we come to expect good basketball from them at this point. It's just more good basketball. There was nothing particularly outlandish in this game, but other than Steph having 9 threes. But even that's not outlandish because we expect that from Steph at this point. But that said, the Warriors are my favorite to come out of the conference at the very least. I don't want to get too recency biased and say they're definitely my favorite to win the championship. But as of right now, like the only other team that I would say competes with them is the Phoenix Suns, which by the way, I need to catch a Suns game again because it's been a while and they're on like what, an 8-game win streak? A 9-game win streak. So I need to catch another Suns game. But overall, the Warriors, I think, are a little bit better than the Suns, and the Lakers are such a mess right now. And I still believe that they can figure that mess out, but it's getting fucking rough. And then outside of that, like if Denver's fully healthy, sure, I could see them beating the Warriors, but really those would be my top three right now. A fully healthy Nuggets team, the Phoenix Suns, and the Warriors. And then if by the end of the year the Lakers have completely figured it out, then sure. By the way, I'm sorry for swallowing so much. I really hate it. And I got a few comments pointing it out in old videos, and I started trying to do it less and less, which ends up resulting in me like choking on my own breath half of the time and having to cut it out. But I have a sore throat, so I have to do it more than I normally would. So yeah, you never realize how, okay, this is gonna sound bad. You never realize how much you swallow, pause, until you have a sore throat, and then it hurts every time you do it. And you're like, fuck, I have to swallow a lot. Jesus, there's a whole lot of stuff bad out of context here. Whatever. That was it. The Warriors are fucking good. Goodbye.